Hi there, Aries. Welcome to your May 2025 love reading for singles. It's Raina here. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I have a main channel called Raina Moon Astrology. And this, for people who are coming from my main channel, welcome as well. And I'm still kind of in the midst of getting into the groove of posting regularly to the second channel. So please bear with me. And if I somehow decide to kind of scrap this, I'll let people know. But the reason that I've had different things going on, and so it hasn't been that hasn't been my top priority at the moment. But yeah, I am going to definitely start doing this and see if it makes sense. By the way, this is just full disclosure. I started laying out cards just about 2 minutes ago. And I have a rule that if I pick 3 cards in a row that are reversed, that I start the reading over again. I separate the cards into piles. And they were, it was weird because when I looked at the bottom of 2 of the 3 piles, they were upright. So I don't know what that was about. But I just have that rule because I do believe in user error. I don't believe everything is just some kind of cosmic thing, I think there is user error. And also I do read reversed cards. That's why it's very important. And you'll see some readers, they pick the card reversed and then they turn it upright. I don't do that. If the card is reversed, it's reversed. So anyway, we'll see what happens. You get reversed readings regardless. And this is a slightly different spread than my normal. I will share with you the meaning of each placements. And hopefully I said this is for singles, because that's what it is. And okay. Now I picked additional cards. I usually don't pick more than, in this particular reading, 5 cards, and I picked 7. The reason I did that is because I don't end on certain cards, like the 9 of Swords. And when I picked an additional card, I also got something that was rather challenging. And the reason, it's not just because, oh, it's negative. I don't look at it that way. But I feel like it doesn't resolve anything and it kind of opens up for more questions. That's why I don't do it like that. So, yeah, I mean, for people who are single Aries, one of the things I'll say, because I always like bring it to the astrology, is that currently Chiron is still in Aries, in your sign. And, it's been there for years. It's not just there recently. And the funny thing about Aries people is that a lot of times, when somebody is like putting down an Aries person, they'll say they're so insensitive. And when Chiron is in conjunction with your sun, or if you're listening for your ascendant, you could say the same thing. Um, it it can make the person much more sensitive. Somebody who's an Aries, but sometimes this is going to be like Chiron is really about your own sense of self, when especially in Aries. And so it could be one of those things where you're so acutely aware of your own issues, but you still have to tune into other people. And so sometimes that can play into why you might be feeling a certain way at this particular time. Also, I see that the central theme is the 7 of Cups, and that is connected to Pisces. And so we've had a lot of energy in Pisces, even like long range, like a, generational planet like Neptune was there and is going to go back there, and Saturn has been there, and that has probably added to a lot of your challenges. So, what I'm trying to say is that, well, one thing I want to say too, if your sun is in Aries, is that you might have Venus in Pisces. And so, even though Venus is exalted in Pisces, it might be one of those things. I still think it can be challenging, even though it's exalted in Pisces, because just the nature of Pisces and this idea of unconditional love. When somebody holds that view and they're getting in a relationship, sometimes that can lead to allowing things that are not really going to benefit you and actually could drag you down. So, anyway, that's why I think that there might be a lot going on here. Um, the heart of the matter is the Seven of Cups. Can kind of tell you, why are you single? Not that there's anything wrong with being single, but I mean, if it's something, if you want to be in a relationship and you're not, what is holding you back? What is the issue? And the Seven of Cups can be simply, you have a lot of options, you're very popular, and you don't really, there's so much out there that you really don't even know who is right for you or anything like that. Also, Seven of Cups can be wishful thinking. It can be this idea of like, I wish I could have this type of person, but it's almost like this fantasy. It's unrealistic. It's not really something that is reasonable to expect. And that can sometimes be like, I will see that when I do people, love readings for people, like I'm talking about like astrology based, and looking at their charts. And what I see so often is a hard angle from Venus to Neptune, because the person has these unrealistic expectations in love. But in addition to that, they may fall in love with the wrong person, because there's a lot of distortion. That's what Neptune can be. Another thing Seven of Cups can be is something connected to addiction. So if you were with someone, or even like, probably like mental illness would qualify too. If you were with someone who exhibited those traits and it really dragged you down, you might be wary of getting involved with somebody again like that. The past, this is kind of illustrating past situations that you may have experienced in some kind of relationship, or even if it didn't get that far, if you were just dating. This is like a very treacherous card. That's what I'm saying. You've got a lot of this intense, like, energy that's not really necessarily supportive. So that's why I'm thinking that and now you have Neptune has entered your sign. So maybe that's going to be very interesting to see how that impacts you. This can be a card of somebody cheating. This can be a card of somebody talking badly about you behind your back. If you experience that kind of thing, you may feel very disillusioned. You may feel that somebody was betraying you in that sense, and maybe they were two-faced, and so maybe you have trust issues. And if you're a sun in Aries and you have the moon in Scorpio or Scorpio rising, that could definitely be like a theme, because that's just how this kind of thing works sometimes, is that the person who's afraid of being betrayed, well, first of all, they may have been betrayed in the past. And I have, if you have that combination, any of those kind of combinations, check my main channel, because I have combination videos for sun and moon and sun as ascendant. And it's kind of interesting, like how that can play out. Like there are different layers of an onion when it comes to astrology. So just keep that in mind. So yeah, anything that's kind of underhanded, and Aries is a very open sign, like you're very above board. So it can be almost like traumatic for somebody to do that because you just can't fathom it. You can't understand why somebody would do that because you don't do that. The lesson to be learned from this is connected to the Four of Wands. This is the happy marriage. It's funny that's a fire energy with the wands here because this is a domestic card. So basically, I would say that Aries people, you need your freedom. And so it's not as easy as just like getting involved with somebody, um, maybe like committing to them either legally through marriage or a domestic partnership. It has to be with the right person. Some people can get away with not necessarily having the perfect match because they just have a certain way of, you know, viewing life and viewing love that doesn't require for them to have like all these stipulations. But Aries people, you're very independent. And when you enter a partnership and you're independent, that means you have to have a person who's also independent. You can't have somebody who's going to be micromanaging you. So it takes time to find that right person. Four of Wands is like happy, like joyful environment, not an austere one, something that's very joyful. And that's what you want when you are, you know, coupling with someone, is that you want that you have that passion, you have that joy. You're not just like kind of, oh God, you know, I don't want to, you know, do this, or this is like something I don't want to do, you know, don't want to have that kind of thing. Okay, what's coming in is the Nine of Pentacles. This is a card that is connected to, um, you know, being abundant on your own. I was going to say, you know, like women, this is like significant because in the past, women were financially dependent on men pretty much across the board. So I, it doesn't seem like this card is as, I don't know, relevant these days, but it kind of, to me, symbolizes more than just like material resources, but it is pentacles. So, you know, you think of material resources, but just this idea that of really feeling um, emotionally, I don't know if you can call it emotionally abundant on your own, and not having to, like, you don't need anything. You might want something, but you don't need it. And really embracing the that concept, because when people go into a relationship or looking for love and they have this kind of poverty consciousness, that just is you know, very like a lower type of vibe. It doesn't lend itself to something very hopeful or confident, anything like that. And that's usually how Aries people are. Um, you're usually very confident, and you're able to convey a sense of independence, that you are fine being the way that you are, and, you know, like not a needy type of a vibe. So that's why when I got the uh, outcome card, I got the Nine of Swords, which is a card of anxiety. So it's one of those things, because the Nine of Pentacles is so positive. To get this as an outcome card was a little bit contradictory to me. So that's why another reason why I pick additional cards for additional information. So, um, Five of Pentacles, that is that lack consciousness. So whether it's somebody who is older, especially unfortunately older women thinking this way, and thinking, well, will I ever, find anyone? Or if somebody has had their heart trampled on, they may even be like, are there any good people out there? You might have reverted to cynicism because it just feels so hard to believe that that there are people that are trustworthy and things like that. And so third card I picked, the Queen of Wands. This deck says rods, but wands. And that's fire energy, just like that Four of Wands. Is really a card. It's funny, it's supposed to be Sagittarius. I always associate it with Leo, but those are both fire signs like Aries. It's really about retaining your heart, which is the Queen, represents the water element, and yet having the masculine. It's kind of like the merging of the divine feminine and masculine energies, meaning that, we go into love with a sense of receptivity. Like, we're not just trying to dominate the situation, we're not trying to dominate another person, and we're trying to also receive from another person. It's not just about, imposing our will on someone. And at the same time, having that positive masculine influence as well, which is about confidence as well as being assertive and being independent. And not, so again, this might be most relevant. This reading obviously is kind of a general reading for everybody who happens to be single in Aries. But for those, this might be the most relevant for those Aries people who do have personal planets in water, because you do have that side to yourself that might feel very vulnerable, might feel very dependent emotionally when you find somebody that you really care about. And so you might feel like it's either or, like either you have to be that dependent person or you have to be like completely invulnerable in relationship, and instead of both being equally important. And it's hard. It is hard when you have combinations like that, because it's not that easy to kind of understand within yourself, let alone do anything about, So anyway, um, I hope that this message kind of resonates with you. At least I said kind of. uh, if you would like a private reading, please contact me at rainamunaastrology@gmail.com. I'm migrating my website at the moment. And have a great month of May. Take care. Bye.